watching Morning at NTV.
The headline on the front page of the Daily Monitor this morning brings some good news. 1,200 get loans for varsity fees. Now that kids are going back to school, I know many parents definitely have a sigh of relief. Well, this morning, if you're a student, I am sure that this could come in handy for you. Because you know what? You're not born to be ordinary. You're born to be extraordinary. So use every opportunity that you get. The show is Morning at NTV. My name is Brian Road, alongside Gerald Senyu, Simon Kasiate, Mabel Kebiroji, Dakaba Isma Chigogo, and the whole entire crew right here at the rooftop of the Serena Hotel. Let's get started.
Well, a very good morning to you. We do apologize for the sound glitch there, but we are working on it and will soon return to the rooftop. Well, moving on with the stories making the news, a report released by the Human Rights Watch accuses the African Union peacekeepers in Somalia of sexually abusing and exploiting vulnerable Somali women and girls. The spokesperson of the African Union mission in Somalia promises a probe into the allegations. Maurice Ochol with that report.
The 71-page report, The Power These Men Have Over Us, documents the sexual exploitation and abuse of Somali women and girls on 2 AMISOM bases in Somalia's capital, Mogadishu, since 2013. The report argues that the African Union soldiers relying on Somali intermediaries have used a range of tactics, including humanitarian aid, to coerce vulnerable women and girls into sexual activity. The Human Rights Watch conducted research in Somalia, Uganda, and Burundi. All the Somali women and girls interviewed were from displaced communities from south-central Somalia. Human Rights Watch also interviewed over 30 witnesses, foreign observers, military personnel, and officials from troop-contributing countries. The research focused on incidents in Mogadishu where Ugandans and Burundian soldiers are present and does not rule out the possibility that similar abuses have occurred elsewhere. The spokesperson of the AMISOM troops in Somalia, Yaolua Elio, says an investigation will be instituted into the allegations.
If those cases, if investigated, if the people are found to be guilty, there will be appropriate measure taken against them in accordance with the African Union rules and regulations.
He also described the report as a misrepresentation of efforts that have been put by troops to bring relative peace to Somalia.
The concern we have is that it's a misrepresentation of the ultimate human sacrifices, the achievement and also the commitment of our troops in support to the Somali people and also to the Somali government.
Human Rights Watch recommends that African Union peacekeeping, the UN and Somali government should adopt measures to prevent sexual exploitation and abuse while creating an environment in which women can come forward and report abuses. They are also suggesting that troop-contributing countries should reinforce their investigative and prosecution capacities inside Somalia. Maurice Ochol, NTV.
The Uganda Bureau of Statistics, that is in charge of the national census, has again extended the enumeration exercise in parts of Kampala, Wakiso, Mukono, northern Uganda and West Nile till today. Officials cite unforeseen interruptions in the countrywide exercise. The census has also suffered a setback after some enumerators in Mityana and Kampala refused to return the equipment and documents used in the exercise until they are fully paid. Ivan Chimuli-Chikozi has that story.
After numerous reports of people complaining of not having been counted across the country, the Uganda Bureau of Statistics has again extended the exercise for 2 days in areas where census officials had challenges.
We again met as census management and decided that rather than leave out the 3%, we will better give them an opportunity to be registered within these 2 days, today and tomorrow, and then we can finally close the exercise.
The census will continue until Tuesday in Mutungo, Bina, Chila, Chanja, Machinje Nangabo, Kono Municipality, Arua Municipality, and some parts of Oima. But enumerators in Mitiana and some parts of Kampala are vowing not to submit enumeration equipment and documents until they are fully paid.
We had to refuse because we had nothing about money. Then we asked them that for what? Then what do you want that information? If they remain with the original, that means you have already taken the what? The information.
National Census Coordinator Francis Machate condemned the protest, saying there is no cause of worry since the money will be paid to the census officials.
But what I can assure you and the country at large is that the money required by the enumerators and supervisors at all levels is in the district's accounts.
The census, which began on 28th August, was scheduled to end on 6th September, but was extended by 1 day due to heavy rains. Now it will go on until Tuesday. Ivan Chimunichigozi, NTV.
Government has picked 1,269 students from 12 universities across the country as beneficiaries of the recently approved Students' Loan Scheme administered by the Higher Education Students Financing Board. The loan scheme targets needy but brilliant students admitted for science-based courses at higher institutions of learning. Minister of Education and Sports Major Jessica Alupo unveiled the names of the beneficiaries at the Uganda Media Centre.
Government will spend 5 billion shillings on the Higher Education Students Financing Scheme for the 2014-2015 academic year.
The average unit cost for the students being supported this financial year has been taken to be 4,266,000 per student.
A boda rider, Fred Kakembo, is one of the 1,269 students whose loan application was successful out of the 2,109 students. 840 students missed out. Kakembo, who is based at the Kawempe stage in Kampala, responded to the adverts in June. He had earlier dropped out of the Makerere and Chambogo universities after failing to pay tuition and returned to A-level to begin afresh.
Semester yasooka bwe namala ogimalako ng'eyokubiri sisobola kugimalako.
He will soon report to Ndeje University to pursue a bachelor's degree in civil engineering.
Okubala najjayo B, physics nenzijjayo C, ate economics kale yanzijjamu teyampisa bulungi namufuna points 2, that is E.
Kakembo is counting his lucky stars and encourages other youth not to lose hope. The loan covers tuition, functional fees and research costs. Accommodation and meals are excluded.
Fred Kakembo is among the many that applied for the government loan scheme, and today his dream finally comes true.
Education Minister Jessica Alupo, who unveiled the list of the beneficiaries at the Government Media Centre, says the loan scheme targets needy and bright students.
We are going to include all the Ugandan children, and they are all going to benefit from the Students' Loan Scheme.
Sheila Tsime Mugisha, NTV.
Even after the near-unanimous election of a new Busoga cultural leader, Ochabazinga, Prince Wilberforce Gabula Nadiope, the fight over the throne continues. As preparations continue ahead of Nadiope's coronation on Saturday, police in Jinja arrested 4 people protesting the move to enthrone Nadiope. The protesters have blocked the highway in Namalesa village on the Jinja-Kamuli highway. But does the group opposed to the upcoming coronation have any recourse to justice? We sought out an answer from a Kampala lawyer.
Government last week approved the election of youthful Wilberforce Gabula Nadiope as a substantive overall cultural leader, or Chabazinga, of Busoga. This followed his election by 10 of the 11 traditional Busoga royal chiefs. Prince Gabula of the chief of Bugabula was subsequently approved by the Busoga Luchiko, the kingdom's legislature. Last week, Prince Nadiope's name was published in the government gazette, effectively recognizing him as a Chabazinga, or head of the Busoga Cultural Institution. But what does it take for such a gazettement?
The duty to gazette that now lies with the minister. What the minister would then do is to prepare an instrument declaring the person so elected as the legitimate leader.
Plans are in high gear to coronate Gabula on Saturday, 13th September. But Gabula's rival, Prince Edward Kolumba Swambuzi, and his camp led by the Isabarangira, or Chief Prince Daudi Kaune Wakoli, are fighting to block the event. Meanwhile, police in Jinja have arrested 4 people for blocking the road as they demanded a stay of Nadiope's coronation. The group burnt tires, prompting the pro-Nadiope group to attack them.
We are going to interrogate them. They tell us why they were doing that.
So you are gazetted, you are gazetted. You cannot gazette more than one person.
The fight for the Chabazinga's throne, which has lasted since the death of Wakomuloki in September 2008, appears far from over. But will Nadiope succeed Muloki and triumph over the late Chabazinga's son, Kolumba Swambuzi?
Hundreds of public servants are in a last-minute dash at the Ministry of Public Service as a validation exercise draws to a close. The exercise is part of cleaning up the payroll. The Auditor General sanctioned the exercise after its report said that there were at least 8,000 ghost workers on the payroll. NTV's Solomon Seranja reports.
No other government institution understands the definition of the term ghosts, like the Ministry of Public Service. Ghost pensioners, ghost workers, and ghost payrolls.
We have been haunted by this issue of ghosts on the payroll. Personally, the ghosts have haunted me.
These are not supernatural beings, but invisible employees in Uganda's public service who are paid money every month with no work to show for it. In fact, the Auditor General's report released for the year ending June 30th, 2013 shows that 8,229 ghost workers were identified and deleted from the payroll. To clean up the payroll further, the Auditor General contracted an audit firm, Ernst & Young, to exorcise the ghosts in December. But as the audit exercise nears an end, it's rush hour here at the ministry as many more public servants from across the country queue to be validated. The queue is endless, and it takes patience to get to the validation table. Every public servant is expected to present an appointment letter, an identity card, a pay slip, and posting instruction. These details are entered into the system, including fingerprints and passport photos taken on site to be aligned with the public service payroll.
They served me very fast. They said, Mama, you come, you cannot manage to stand.
From the time I reached here, I've not even taken water. The difficulties that it involves.
While these public servants may be lucky to be validated, Associate Professor Charles Tushabe from Bara University was blocked from being validated since his name was not on the payroll.
But I specifically don't know what exactly they mean by putting me on the government payroll, because I've been getting my salary.
The lecturer of accounts was puzzled as to why the payment of Bara University was not synchronized with the government payroll.
Bara University sends their names direct to Ministry of Finance, and they pay using a system that we call Integrated Financial Management System. Now, that one you can pay anyone.
But as Professor Tushabe finds answers to his questions, the deadline for the exercise is fixed for Wednesday, 10th of September.
So any civil servant who will not have been validated by then will be struck off the payroll and will be declared a ghost.
It's been a very long day for the officers who are doing the validation exercise here at Public Service, and the queues are getting longer by minute. Now, some of the people here say that the deadline needs to be extended to enable those who have not been validated get an opportunity. Solomon Serwanja, NTV in Kampala.
Indeed, the stories of ghosts in Uganda never ceases to amaze me. We now cross over to that gentleman on the rooftop. Simon, good morning. Good to see you.
Yes, a very good morning and welcome to Morning at NTV's Press Review on this tremendous Tuesday morning, the 9th day of September 2014. Yes, we'll be coming to you with the headlines in the Daily Monitor and the Red Paper, as it were. But of course, very interesting news that is in the inside pages as well, that we'll be discussing when we return from this as we go down to the Press Review. Yes, welcome back. It's Morning at NTV's Press Review. My name is Simon Kasiate, and yes, welcome to this edition of Morning at NTV. We're looking at the Daily Monitor and the Red Paper this morning, waking up the screaming headline of 1,200 getting loans for varsity fees. And we are told that Kampala International University did take the giant share of successful applicants, as Makerere University, the largest public university, coming in second.
Interesting.
Don't ask me who owns KIU. Certainly there we have.
Who determines the... Maybe, does KIU pay less?
I don't know. I want to dig deeper and find out how this was done. But good for these students. I hope they will pay this money because, you see, after graduating, you're given about a year to begin repaying. If you don't, 6 months behind bars, and you still have to pay a penalty of 1 million shillings, you know. But you see, the challenge is there are no available jobs. That is the biggest challenge. So I hope they will be able to meet it, you know.
Or maybe the 1,200 who are going to, who are getting the loans will be given jobs first.
By who?
By government.
So that they can pay back the
They
money.
can pay back the money, then they
quite,
can fire them maybe after that.
That makes quite some sense, but where are the jobs to give these people? Because we know that...
Recently, we were told in public service there are over 1,000 vacant jobs.
Yeah,
so
for who? For what kind of qualifications? Those are jobs that keep being re-advertised. Never mind, we have, you know, on an annual basis, we churn out 400,000 people ready to hit the job market, but jobs available about 113,000. That is a stupendous level.
If as government, you know now you're giving people loans and you're sure they may not pay them, then start now. Give yourself a year.
I hope
if
so.
you were a government, you know, if 1, if 2, and if 3. Where if 3 is an impossibility, if 1 is, you know. So which if are you speaking in? If you were a government as Mulonde?
I think too.
Well, we are waking up to a disturbing story coming in from a report released by the Human Rights Watch that the Uganda People's Defense Forces, and of course this is what the Monitor says in its headline, but we know that the report says AMISOM troops in Somalia, but the Daily Monitor said UPDF specifically. Whatever the reasons are, well, the story is in the Daily Monitor, you can read it for you. But we are told that the UPDF is sexually abusing Somali women, and let's not forget that the UPDF was the first and for a long time the only force that made up the AMISOM troops that pacified what was otherwise a war-torn, God-forsaken part of the world called Somalia. But now a report coming in from Human Rights Watch is telling us that beyond the pacification efforts, there have been elements and reports of sexual harassment and abuse of these gallant soldiers onto the helpless women and children of Somalia.
This is very sad. The fact that we've been heroes and now we are turning into villains.
Wait a minute. Do we come from the premise that we actually believe that Maria Barnett and her courts and the Human Rights Watch are actually speaking nothing but the truth and all the truth?
But you see, just here in northern Uganda, and again, you know, government has always repudiated claims by Human Rights Watch and the like, but just here in northern Uganda, and you can do your own research, talk to a few of these people, you know, back in the day when the war was still ravaging there. People will tell you, look, we see the APDF here, we see what they do, etc., etc., and of course government would deny that, you know, so
in other words, we are saying that reports like these ones are true. Now we go down to the moral turpitude of the UPDF.
I think so, but you see, just throwing them out the window like the UPDF always does.
Or one is trying to say that Human Rights Watch is trying, as always, to try to claim some level of relevance wherever they are. Usually they want to be in the news for one reason or other, and this is possibly one of their schemes to ensure. You know very well that you cannot beat them in terms of the master stroke of PR genius, how they always position themselves to be known. Oh, Human Rights Watch has done it. Oh, Human Rights Watch. Human Rights Watch always rearing its, well, someone would call it an ugly head, but...
Well, maybe they would be a lot more in the news if they're giving credit to government. I don't know, but I think it's a report that we need not throw out the window. Well, give credit where it is due, and you castigate where it need be. But it is not a report we need to throw out the window, because many times government says, that is rubbish, and that kind of thing. No, I don't think so.
Is sexual abuse in times of war by troops, you know, akin to only the UPDF, or is there a war that you can cite in world history, even in present, where you've not had claims of troops getting down into matters sexual?
You know, away from even sexual abuse, we've seen the U.S. government being accused, and actually the production of video footage where American soldiers are peeing on dead, you know, Iraqis or, you know, people from Afghanistan. And I guess armies during war are just, it's another different ball game.
So in other words, can we say that sexual harassment and war are possibly one and the same thing, and that one should not be surprised when you hear reports of sexual harassment in the theater of war?
There are two sides, because you see there's the rebel group, for example, and then there's the legitimate one. In this case, let's talk about the UPDF. Well, when the rebels do that, you're thinking you don't expect any better. When the UPDF is accused of doing that, it is totally inexcusable. So you want to look at it that way, I think.
Do these people get, for lack of a better word, conjugal visits during war, like,
really?
You know, no, I'm asking
on the battlefield.
because you see.
But
you have a point.
I'm asking this because we are going to see more reports like
now
this.
let's answer.
But
let's also
stay away
answer.
from your wife for I don't know how long.
Brian, is it true that the absence of sex, for the most part, for somebody, directly correlates their susceptibility to commit sexual crime? That if you have been sexually stabbed, it becomes automatic.
You're like a dog.
That any chance to, you know, redeem yourself, then you quickly embrace it?
Gentlemen, let's be honest. The only reason why some of us do not go and maybe mount goats and chicken is because
you are getting enough of it.
Well, apart from even that, we are educated. You think to yourself, well, that's the wrong thing.
But some of the biggest sexual abusers are the educated people. If you read the papers on
even right now, there are people in their offices
abusers
watching us, and they've been abused every day by their bosses.
Who are very well educated.
Who are very,
but you see, I know being stereotypical. Why do you always think that the bosses that abuse are not the other way around?
Come on.
You know, you never know. I mean,
maybe I don't know.
But anyway, the point,
many men would want to be in that position.
Maybe the point that you're trying to put across does not necessarily correlate to the fact that, well, if you're in the theater of war, you must be given certain conjugal rights. I'll tell you something, Brian. When you choose to go into a vocation, you must go with it full soul, wholesale. You wake up 4 a.m. to be here 5 a.m. every morning. You know very well as a married man what that hour means, especially for your conjugal rights at home. But that does not make you get on to rampage as soon as you get off this show at 9 o'clock to go mounting whatever comes your way simply because you are denied the morning glory. And sorry if I'm getting a bit graphic here. So clearly you went into this knowing very well. So if you're a soldier and you are sent out for battle and combat, you must know that this comes with the hazard of the job. You do not go and bring your frustrations of the absence of sex onto innocent civilians.
So are we going to let the image of the UPDF, which has done a phenomenal job in Somalia, go down the drain because we are failing to find...
I'm not sure about phenomenal.
Come on.
No, one thing is... Joel,
let's give it to them.
You pride yourself in playing the devil's advocate. But on this one here, if you say the UPDF has not done, or AMISOM has not done a phenomenal job for Somalia.
I think they've done a good job, not phenomenal. Do you know the meaning of the word phenomenal?
You're not only being a devil's advocate, but in that case, you'll be looked at as the devil incarnate.
Yes.
Because
well,
clearly,
again, it's my opinion, but you see, look, I'm not saying they've done it bad. I'm saying they've done a good job. Not you know the meaning of the word phenomenal? What's the meaning of the word phenomenal?
The Americans who we look up to failed to pacify Somalia.
Yeah, so let's give credit where it's due. I think they've done a good job. Phenomenal, then Somalia would be a lot better than it is today.
Are you going to let this good army, the image
Joel,
of that good
Joel, educate yourself of what Somalia was,
I have.
And what it is today.
Exactly. It is better off, but not phenomenal.
Wait a minute. And in fact, I hasten inform you that be you understanding the word phenomenal, in fact, from what I understand the word phenomenal to mean, what these guys have done to describe it as phenomenal is an understatement for the most part.
Well,
but away from that, I want to believe
that
the UPDF, like any organization, they are certain errant characters that are in there. The people who are doing a good job in a community, even a community of saints, there possibly would be one guy that is going to do the wrong thing. Perhaps what is now incumbent on the UPDF leadership is to look out and embrace an investigation, get down to the perpetrators of this who are the bad apples, fish them out, and then continue doing their phenomenal job. I mean, just like what happens, we know that there are phenomenal police officers on the road helping, guiding traffic. And then there are characters like Wiyinza, who I talked about yesterday, who I met in traffic last evening, again, coincidentally, as I dropped off a colleague with whom I work at that T junction in Weyogere. And the character now looks at me and then makes a vain attempt at intimidating me because I made him a bit famous on the TV. And I think NTV, we continue with this campaign. Please send us your experiences and names of police officers who you meet in their line of duty and how they treat you. We need to distinguish the bad and the good cops. For health sake, we should not allow or condone people abusing their uniform. And that's how it starts. When you're a police traffic officer and you start abusing and intimidating road users simply because you are wearing white, the moment you are sent to Somalia on a peacekeeping mission, it will not be lost on you if you start raping children and all that. So we must stop the likes of Wiyinza in their tracks so that then we can have a better image out there.
Simon, you talk of me being a devil's advocate. You know, as we talk about, Ugandans sending us pictures of police officers who abuse the law, there are citizens who abuse the law.
And that is the role of the police to apprehend them. And
without a doubt.
That's why we go every Monday,
every
Monday, NTV and other media houses go to CPS. Every single day, if you watch the news, there will be a story carried by we in the press showing the police's good work. We support them in that. When they find someone on the wrong side of the law, we will support them, name and shame suspects even before they are condemned as criminals.
And talking about naming and shaming a suspect.
Exactly.
Yesterday we had people here on the show. When we went away, I was actually with you, Brian, and some people were giving us a report. There's this belligerent character called Tamale Mirundi. You know Watoto Church Central, formerly KPC. You know, there is a route where you cannot go in, you're only supposed to get out. Now, this Mirundi chap comes driving in with his driver, and clearly knows this is not a way to get there in. You know, he's driver, but clearly under instructions. Now look, as they get there in, security officer stops him and says, "Look, boss, this is only a way out. You can't get in." Tamale Mirundi comes out and says, "Do you know who I am? Do you know I can arrest you?" I thought, what kind of nonsense is this? Wait a minute.
That's precisely my point. That you see people abusing their privilege, using their privilege against others. Not knowing.
What happens when a villager gets a bit of power and a bit of money?
Can we go back to the...
No, but seriously, I think I needed to put this very clearly. You know, because I've had a few chaps, one of them was tweeting you or something, telling you that Joel should go slow, Tamale Mirundi, we are not equals. Absolutely, we are not equals.
That's why
I don't speak as bad English. I try not to break the law. But look, and it's not just Tamale Mirundi. You know, this is very serious. There's many government officials out there. They don't have right of way. You see them, driving in a very wanton manner because they have UG number plates like the likes of Tamale Mirundi. Tamale Mirundi, for goodness sake, style up. You represent this country and you represent me. By speaking for my president, even though I didn't vote for him, you represent me. Do not misrepresent me.
You see, Joel, that's precisely my point, that you have characters on the road like Wiyinza who are wearing a national uniform, for whom 30% of my pay every single month is taken off as pay as you and other great taxes that I do pay as an individual, which ostensibly should go for their welfare. But they come on the road and rather than do the job for which they are supposed to be doing, that's protect and serve, they are instead causing havoc on the roads. And this is precisely my point, that Ugandans must wake up and say enough is enough. We should not continue being this kind of country where every shit is thrown at us and we just take
Simon,
it wholesale.
I don't know whether we are trying to put
so gentlemen, I'll come the waters here. In the red paper this morning, I will win the presidency, says Amama Mbabazi. Maybe when he becomes president.
When is he intending to contest for the presidency?
Well, he says he will win the presidency when he does contest.
Yes.
This man is one you can't get.
So he can stand in 2021, in 2027.
But he says when he stands, he will win.
He will win.
2027, the Honorable Mbabazi, 2027, that is a
not
bit
qualify anymore, except if the law will have been altered.
Will have done something.
Forget even about the law. I mean, his motto, by that time, the wear and tear of longevity will have taken its toll on him. I think, in my view, it is either 2016 or then from there you begin to start bidding farewell to it.
Well, the full student loan scheme beneficiaries are in the red paper this morning. You can check it out if your name is there from all the different universities. Obviously, KIU leading the numbers there. Yeah, and I see most of the sponsorship is in science.
Well, actually, it's exclusive to sciences this time round. They say they'll keep building it up.
Wow.
Well, actually, we are saying arts
the other
are
day
useless,
you were told by the chief executive. Anyway, in a country where we had loads of what's going around with regard to the reinstatement of a former chief justice, perhaps word would have been that many people on the bench would not prefer to retire. But waking up to a story in the Daily Monitor this morning that a High Court judge has opted to retire early. We're talking about Justice Chibuka Musoke, who has said kwaheri to the profession. There we have it.
Good for the judge.
And then we also told that there's an American politician who's backing the anti-gay law in Uganda. His name is right here. And yes, if you thought for the most part that the U.S. is wholesale behind the behind the pro-gay.
Anti-behind?
Well, whatever, I mean,
well he's actually a Democrat, you'll be surprised to know.
But he's also Hispanic, so you kind of, you believe, you know.
Being Hispanic?
Yes, being Hispanic.
On Saturday, yes, like I said yesterday, there will be a coronation ceremony in Busoga for their new Chabazinga, but we are told that a group supporting another Chabazinga was arrested yesterday for causing a bit of demonstrations, and this is playing out in the Daily Monitor this morning.
Police is not just arresting those. We are told police is arresting suspected serial car robbers in the city. There's plenty of those. In some not so good news here, over 400 failed LDC pre-entry exams.
With the lawyer that we hosted last week, should they just say, okay, since you've passed A-level, you have this, or since you've graduated, just start practicing? Because obviously more kids are failing this exam.
Well, it's just like internship for medical doctors. Look, I think we have too many lawyers. Well, some people think otherwise, but we're not just going to get every... We've got to separate the wheat from the chaff.
And very few of them provide pro bono,
even though it is mandatory.
When you get down to the opinion section of the Daily Monitor, we've got some very interesting opinions here coming in from two distinctively different people. But let's start off from the NSSF acting managing director, who's writing here in the Daily Monitor, the NSSF investments in Umeme followed the right legal procedure. This is an interesting article for you to read if you are level-headed and you want to understand the issues, at least from the horse's mouth, as opposed to picking press reports coming in from a committee of parliament, which never, for the most part, gives people any logical time to explain to them, and even if they did, hardly do they understand.
But let's get some slack. What do you expect Mrs. Sally to say, really? You know, she's giving her...
But you see, that is the point I have already told you, Joel.
So listen to both sides.
Yeah, that's why I've already told you, Joel. You may have your views about ESCOM's performance in Uganda, for example, based on your whims and fancies, wishes, and even for the most part, rumors and all that. But you see, when a man like Kasiate, who is paid to articulate issues for you in terms of ESCOM, comes and tells you something, you may argue that, oh, what do you expect Kasiate to say? But yes, exactly his point. Listen to him because that is his viewpoint, authenticated by the organization that he represents. So you want to know something about NSSF. Yes, you can listen to the staccato of noise from members of parliament, well informed and very articulate as they are to you. But clearly, you also must also give this woman a chance and listen to her.
Without a doubt. Let's listen
Just
to
like we want to listen to Nicholas Sengoba when he writes and says, Uganda has no ghosts, but protected, untouchable thieves.
I would think he's partially right. There are those that are not known about, but yes, there are those that are very untouchable. In more opinion here, this is Munini Kemulera says, Mr. President, no subject is useless. Very well put. Quote of the day, forum, this is former Democratic Party.
Who writes that?
This is Munini Mulera.
Why didn't Munini Mulera, for example, become a lawyer? Or why is he a doctor?
Well, actually, it's even better that it's coming from him, you know?
No,
that,
because
he's saying, look, I'm a scientist, but I know that we need the artists as well.
No, but you see him as a scientist. What does he know about being a lawyer, as being an artist?
Well, because he realizes he needs them too. You see, no one can operate in solitude.
No, of course he needs them as patients, he needs them as everything else because
he needs a lawyer every once in a while. All right, word of the day by former DP President Sebana Kizito on retirement. When I looked into the mirror and I realized that I'm aging, I thought of stepping down.
I think
so are you sending a memo to somebody?
No, he's being very brutally honest.
Or maybe he was just tired, but aging should not be. I mean, this famous...
Aging should not be.
John Rivers died at age 81 and she was still strong, so...
Yeah, but also depends on what job she was doing compared to Sebana Kizito. I mean,
there you are.
Yeah. Well, we have Rainbow Magazine for you, the youngsters, in the Daily Monitor this morning. And there's an interesting story on parents who wish their children take on vocations without wasting time in schools. I can see Bebe Kursan here being featured, and we are told that football is taking him to Spain so that he can do some professional footballing here. We need many of them, especially given that Uganda is at crunch time. You know, tomorrow we're having this under the floodlights game with Guinea, where if we win it, we certainly will be lightening up our chances of going to the AFCON. Well, we can only wish our boys the very best of luck.
There's something here in the business segment. 6 things rich people do differently every day. Some I disagree with. 1, rich people always keep their goals in sight.
You are not rich.
And they know what needs to be done today. 3, they don't watch TV. I disagree. 4, they read but not for fun. And then plus they're big into audiobooks. Look, you can watch a good TV program that will add a little bit of value to you as
many rich people I know
who
do not read, who do not listen to audiobooks.
No.
And who watch a lot of TV.
Who watch a lot of
TV. You get someone to do all that for you. When you have money, a lot of these things are done for you. They will read for you, they will listen for you, they will even talk for you. You know that. Well, in Prosper Magazine, which is your favorite pull-out magazine, every Tuesday morning, you've got turning scrap into revenue. That's the lead feature story in there. But also told that tobacco growers' jobs are hanging in balance after BAT Uganda abandoned leaf operations in this country. There you have it.
I know someone who is probably thinking, oh, why did I start this bill?
Well, no, but Honorable Bariomunsi needs to be told very clearly. He knew he comes from an area where people grow tobacco. Much of their livelihood has been on tobacco. Perhaps much of his school fees was paid by tobacco growing. He comes to Parliament and he decided to bite the fingers and the hands that fed him. So whatever ramifications come from that, he should be able to take full responsibility of his wonderful legislation.
Well, this should probably concern Mr. Mashate, who is the national coordinator. Census enumerators strike over pay. And actually, yesterday, some of them refused to go back to work for the extra days because of no pay.
But you see, for me, I can tell you, you know, I get disgusted by the work ethic of most of us in Uganda.
But the people need to be paid.
So that one extra day you would have put in, do your job, and then come and kubanja and say, look, I did this, I did my job, but you don't try to hold someone at ransom. Yes, I understand you need a point, you have a point to be made. And maybe some of these things work better when there is some level of demonstration. But for me, I find that really, really below the belt. Do your job, finish it, and then afterwards say, look, I diligently went out, I did my part, and you have not paid me. History will judge you as the guy who did the right thing. But this whole, didn't they know what they were supposed to be paid when they were paid?
But over time
that's the word.
If these people are not paid before the census ends, they will not be paid.
And not just for the census. Look at public servants. Sometimes they go for 6 months without pay. Teachers, doctors, you know, as interviewing, Lydia Wanyoto the other day. Our troops in Somalia have not gotten their pension saying, look, now we are processing it, they're going to get it in a lump sum for all these months. And I was thinking, they're not interested in your lump sum. Pay them per month as should be the case, you know. So I hear you when you say that some people, yes, of course, do not do their job right. Some people report to work at 11, they leave at 4, and they still want full pay. I think that is corruption, you know, in a very clandestine way, if you like. But you see, people need to be paid for the job that they do.
There are days when we at ESCOM are paid around the 25th of the month. But there are certain months when they will go up to possibly the 30th, and I've not seen money on my account. But between the 5th and 30th, because money is not yet on my account, really it will be gross indiscipline on my part and the failure to understand if I refuse to go and work, claiming that my money has not been paid.
Remember his word precedence, because you know that in the past they've always paid. So you're sure these guys are going to pay?
No, but you see, the thing is this. If there is one person that will actually pay, it is government. You may
This
one, I can tell you.
Are we talking about
people are dying before they get their pension, and you know.
Because I also know companies that have taken, you know, up to now they are still waiting for their money that did Chogam. They provided services during Chogam, but they are still waiting to be paid up. This is 7
you know, when
years.
you point a finger at government, I also want you to look inside our own profession. There is no single time I tune in the radio at the top of the hour and I don't listen to the top of the hour news. Yet I know some radio stations where the reporters who are reading the news, who I know personally, have not been paid in 2 months.
It does not make it right.
It doesn't make it right. But these reporters are going out of their way to do their job in spite of the fact that they are not what? They are not paid.
But so if they choose to protest, you hear them, really. If they choose to say, you know what, I'm not coming to work, I don't even have transport, it gets that bad. Somebody cannot get to work, they don't have transport, they don't have money to eat. Surely you can't blame them much.
Well, there we have it. We hope that government pays these enumerators, but I also hope, and you know, these enumerators just beat my understanding. That job comes once in 10 years. Now you're here trying to miss. Anyway, let's join Mabel, who for the most part has been missing out in action, and tell us exactly what's happening on the international arena, apart from, of course, the disturbing, I don't want to call it disturbing, but I'm finding it difficult to understand that the world on the international scene is awash with the stories of a legally married woman of childbearing age having her second child, and that is making a lot of big news. Perhaps you, Mabel, who's eyeing the institution of marriage very soon, should be able to tell us and articulate matters of expecting babies, for that matter. Good morning.
Good morning, Simon, and thank you very much. I was actually surprised that it was breaking news yesterday. I thought, you know, it would just be ordinary news, but it was actually breaking news. Kate Middleton is expecting her second child, and the family obviously is immensely thrilled. She is suffering from severe morning sickness, just as she suffered when she was expecting her first child, Prince George. They have not yet released the date, her expected delivery date, but it is said she's still under 12 weeks pregnant. So I do not know, maybe 3, 4, 5 weeks pregnant, but I guess with time we shall get to know. Well, moving on to the CNN page, the Scottish referendum, which is coming in less than 2 weeks really. Will Scotland become independent? The campaign, the Yes campaign, seems to be gaining more momentum according to polls. They are less than 2 weeks, and on September 18th, the Scots will be asked, should Scotland be an independent country? Very simple question. You either say yes or no. Hence the Yes campaign. A yes vote would mean that Scotland splits from the rest of the United Kingdom, that is England, Wales, and Northern Ireland. Now, we talked about this some time back. Obama was seen playing golf a few minutes after making a Foley statement, not a Foley statement, after making a statement on Foley. Foley is the American who was beheaded by ISIS in Iraq, and he says it was actually in bad taste, and he should be aware of the optics that are always around him. He says he was compassionate, and he had had phone calls with the family members. And, you know, it was just unfortunate he was seen playing golf a few minutes later. Still on the CNN page regarding Ebola, a World Health Organization doctor in Sierra Leone has contracted that disease and is soon to be evacuated. On the Sky News page, they are a bit not as optimistic as the CNN page here. They had a poll and they say the yes-no campaigns are neck and neck. The referendum is too close to call. Now, it's an interesting picture here because I saw this black guy and I thought, my goodness, since when did Scots when were they black? But anyway, I guess if you've lived there, what makes you of a certain nationality? Well, he is saying they want independence. Now, moving on to the BBC Sports page, England, Brian should be happy to know that Welbeck scored for England against Switzerland in the start to their Euro 2016 qualifying campaign. And that was also very good news, I'm sure, for manager Roy Hodgson. Now, still on the BBC page, the new government in Iraq is a milestone. The Prime Minister Al-Abadi, who is a moderate Shia, has formed a government with Sunni and Kurd as his deputy prime ministers. Now, on to sport. We did talk about this last week, and we thought, oh, this is some kind of deadlock. But the Nigerian here, Chris Jiwa, has decided to give up his claims to be the head of the National Football Federation, because that would have meant that they would have missed the Wednesday Cup qualifier in South Africa. Now, we will be talking about tennis, I'm sure, later on, but this is Marin Cilic, the Croatian. I don't know if he's doing a Serena here, but winning his first Grand Slam title. He beat out, of course, Nishikori of Japan. I think both of them really, most unlikely to finish in the US Grand Slam final. But I guess we're seeing a new breed of tennis players. That's all we had for you. Morning at NTV continues after the break.
You're watching Morning at NTV with Simon Kasiate, Mabel Kebirunji, and Brian Molondo.
Babe, you know you are truly an angel.
Aww.
I love your walk, your smile, your laugh, everything. You know what else, babe?
What?
You smell. Oh no, I'm out of airtime. Shops are closed. I have to wait till tomorrow before I can get airtime. She'll think I was saying she smells.
Get airtime instantly.
with your phone.
What?
Just use Airtel Money. Dial *185 hash, select buy airtime, and follow the steps.
What?
Sorry, babe. My line got cut. I was just saying you smell better than any flower in the world.
Top up with Airtel Money and get 100% bonus airtime instantly with every top up made. Now that's 100% extra from Airtel. Dial *185 hash to top up now.
Airtel Money. Simple, secure, instant.
We transact every day, and for centuries, currencies have changed hands. Business is a must, and that is why Money Matters makes it a must to talk business.
It's the biggest market out in Uganda because of East African connections and business.
From farming to business trading, we give you all the angles.
When you're harvesting, that one is the most important part, which we have to be there.
We'll bring you all the details that doing business has to offer.
Thoughts of the business leaders in the market.
The airline industry doesn't operate like any other industry, where you go in and buy a shirt and this shirt is 20 shillings today, it will be 20 shillings tomorrow, 20 shillings. The analysis of the costs and the income in the industries.
From wherever we are,
we talk business, and at Money Matters, where money indeed matters.
Business is a must.
So, don't miss talking business with us every Thursday only on NTV.
You're watching Morning at NTV with Simon Kasiate, Mabel Kebirunji, and Brian Mulondo.
Welcome back. You're still watching Morning at NTV. Time now for today's big story with Simon Kasiate. Good morning, Simon.
Yes, good morning, Mabel. Welcome to this edition of Morning at NTV's Big Story. This morning we are talking about matters energy. You know very well that the energy sector is a key priority in our development agenda as a country. But of course, we also know that each one of us in one way or another uses energy. But do we use it responsibly and do we get it sustainably? This week, the Ministry of Energy is holding what we call an Energy Efficiency Week, a week where there will be tremendous exhibitions and messages being sent across on how to foster end-user utilization of energy effectively, so that at the end of the day, we use the available energy sustainably and, of course, use it for the beneficial purposes for which it is certainly meant to. This morning, we have got an interesting but also high-level guest to discuss this matter and lots more in the energy industry. Just stay with us when we return. Yes, welcome back to this edition of Morning at NTV's Big Story. And this morning we're looking at the energy sector. We obviously know that energy is a huge priority for our development agenda. We need adequate and reliable energy to bring about social and economic development of the nation, also says the government. This morning we are looking at efficient use of energy. And this morning we have the privilege of hosting the Minister of Energy herself, the Honorable Irene Muloni. Good morning and welcome to the Big Story on NTV.
Good morning, Simon.
Looking tremendously smart in hot pink. Indeed,
thank
exuding
you,
lots of energy and very vibrant this morning.
Yes.
How is the ministry? We'll start from the point of energy. How is the ministry and, of course, meeting the demands, the energy demands of this nation?
Thank you, Simon, and good morning, viewers. My pleasure to be with you this morning on NTV. And my ministry is fine. We are progressing a number of projects to answer the energy needs of Ugandans and to support the transformation process. So things are moving.
Tremendous. Of course, for our viewers, you will also appreciate that I need to declare a bit of a conflict of interest here. The Honorable Minister is my line ministry and superintends over the operations of hydropower generation, and you know very well that I work for Eskom Uganda Limited. So this is my political head, and therefore when you realize that I'm a bit very smitten and I'm all shaking and quivering, please understand that I am in very unfamiliar turf. It's not usual to ask such demanding questions on somebody that superintends over your industry. But Honorable Minister, let's get down to the Energy Week. The Ministry of Energy has, over the years, had an annual Energy Week. What exactly do you do at this Energy Week? What kind of exhibitions do we have there, and what should Ugandans expect to benefit from this kind of exercise?
Okay, the Energy Week started as far back as 2005, which is almost now 80 years ago, and for the purpose of creating and increasing awareness to the general public, in the various aspects of sustainable use of energy. We are looking at energy that we need now and energy for the future, and what technologies that we have in place, and how best people can manage their lives, can utilize the energy at their disposal more efficiently, so that it becomes sustainable, it becomes affordable, and it becomes cheap for them to transform their lives.
Just right there, Honorable Minister, without cutting you short disrespectfully, when you talk about affordable energy, many Ugandans are grappling with the fact that they can't afford the kind of energy that is available, say electricity, or even electricity for the most part, and that's why they resort to such activities as deforestation to get some wood energy, which is cheaper for them to use, but has got huge environmental consequences. How is that balance supposed to be hit by strategy from your ministry, and what can we benefit from the Energy Week in terms of solutions to give us cheap energy, yes, but that does not have an environmental impact as bad as deforestation?
And that's the reason that I'm here this morning, and as a ministry we've organized this week-long Energy Efficiency Week for purposes of sensitizing the public, bringing to their attention that they can actually have cheap, affordable energy. If they can optimize the energy that they have at their disposal, use it efficiently, use appliances that use little energy, and of course at the end of the day it boils down to how much are you paying from your pocket at the end of the month. How much are you spending to buy source of energy, source of fuel that you're using? So the essence of this is to bring out to the public that you can actually manage your life in a better way, as long as you're mindful about the available cheap sources of energy that you can put to your use, and how efficiently you can put to use, so that you end up spending less than what you have been spending.
So at this Energy Week exhibition, you are drawing together participants or exhibitors of persons who have innovations that will help Ugandans understand how best to use energy more efficiently. For example, you have people exhibiting charcoal saving stoves, or solar panels that do not take a lot of their resources. What exactly do we expect to find at this exhibition stand?
Exactly, and that's exactly what you're saying, Simon, because seeing is believing. We want to interface with the general public, with the communities. We want them to see the technologies that are available on the market, which are cheap, which are efficient. We want them to learn modern methods of efficiently utilizing energy. We want the young children to learn, so that they keep reminding the parents in their homes how to efficiently use energy which is at their disposal. We want them to look at modern technology, right from the traditional cook stoves that we use. They've been modeled in an efficient manner, such that they use little of the fuel, like the charcoal briquettes. You use little, but you're able to cook for the entire day, for the entire day. We have appliances like light emitting diode bulbs, which are 3 watts, which are 5 watts, compared to a traditional 100 watt bulb, and it gives you the same light.
Perhaps even better light, white light.
Exactly, but then it consumes
a lot less.
3% of what the old 100 watt bulb was confusing. So that means that instead of paying, say, for electricity, if you're paying 50,000 or 40,000 or 30,000 per month, and you change all your lights, your bulbs in the home, and to energy savers, which consume about 3 watts, you see you reduce your bill by
tremendous percentage,
by 97%.
Honorable Minister, of course, energy efficiency is directly related to technological innovation.
Yeah.
There is no way you're going to have efficient use of energy unless there's somebody out there innovating new ways of saving this energy. As a ministry, are you cognizant of that, and how much support do you put into the innovation industry? Or do you rely on another arm of government to put in some kind of effort?
partnership, because energy comes from different angles. There are those who manufacture the appliances for use. So issues of efficiency, how efficient is the appliance, becomes very pertinent. And therefore, when we look at our country, if we are not manufacturing them, but we are importing them, then we need to ensure that the people who are importing those technologies go in for efficient technologies, which are not going to be brought on the market here to do more harm than good. And also to alert our people to be cautious, because there are very many fake technologies.
I was coming to that. How do you ensure that you don't have fakes on the market that in fact will come here to do more harm than good?
Now, we work hand in hand with the Uganda National Bureau of Standards. That is one of their mandates, to try and ensure that our Ugandan community is not cheated by bringing on board fake goods. And so, working hand in hand with them, we need to first and foremost sensitize the people, our masses, the public who use those technologies, to know the difference between a genuine appliance or genuine technology with a fake one. And the Uganda National Bureau of Standards has a team that actually goes out
to monitor some,
test them, check them. You know, if you, the public, member of the public, you feel you're being cheated, you know, raise it up
to them.
Exactly.
And through that they will follow up. Now, Honorable Minister, let's go down here to a subject that very much relates to what you and I do together. That's electricity generation, or the availability of electricity. For the most part, many Ugandans say the coverage of electricity is still not yet up to the mark. You may wish one to bring us up to speed with the electricity coverage and what government's plan is to ensure that we have more coverage of electricity, because without a doubt, electricity will certainly be the only driver for any form of socio-economic change that you're clamoring for as a country.
Yes, I do appreciate that. We don't have enough access to electricity throughout the country. Right now, we stand at about 15%. So you can imagine that 85% of Ugandans do not access electricity. But I hope after this census, it will bring us up to date to know what exactly the figure is, because a lot of effort has been going on in rural electrification, in trying to extend the grid to as many places as possible in the rural areas, so that we can promote industrialization in the rural areas and value addition, you know, using electricity, so that we can create jobs for our youth that are very much needed.
So that you don't have all these, say, how they call them, ground nuts coming in their shells all the way from Bulambudi up to Kampala. They can be milled from there, and we instead get, you know, powder. But Honorable Minister, still, even with the proliferation of electricity across the country, as you may wish to cover wider areas, there are still concerns on the affordability of this wonderful source of energy. What is government's view to ensure that it gets a bit cheaper?
The strategy on that is one, to go in for a source of electricity which is cheap. Now, in Uganda, we have abundant natural renewable energy sources. We have water, hydro, which is one of the cheapest sources of electricity. We have sunshine, we have geothermal, we have biomass, and so we are tapping into all those ones, so that we can, if we can increase the capacity of the generation capacity, and we also increase access to electricity, the eventual cost of electricity is going to drastically drop. And so right now, the projects that we've lined up as a country, which are undergoing construction, Karuma hydropower project, which is 600 megawatts of electricity, is under construction. Isimba 183 megawatts is under construction. Ayago 600 megawatts, finalizing with the feasibility study before we embark on construction. So all of these huge projects where we generate huge amounts of electricity, which is cheap, if they come online and we have many people connected, you know, connected to the grid,
or there's the infrastructure at least to carry this electricity from where it is generated,
and have people connected, the price of electricity is going to drop.
Let's put some timelines to this, Honorable Minister. You are talking about all these wonderful projects coming on board, but when should we expect to see them on board? In our lifetime?
No, in Isimba is taking 40 months, and that is starting from last year. So we are now in 2014, end of 2016, 2017, we should have Isimba on.
Online, okay.
Karuma should be on in 2018. It takes 5 months. Ayago will also take 5 months. So as soon as they start construction, we would expect. So if construction started end of this year or beginning of next year, then we give it 5 years, it would be on. But also there are small hydros across the country which are actually undergoing development right now. Those ones, 2016, they should also be coming in. And meanwhile, as I'm saying, we are also accelerating rural electrification so that we can increase access, you know, and the government has come up with a program, outbased aid, where we are helping people who are living near to existing lines but have not had an opportunity to get a connection. Government of Uganda is paying for that connection.
Oh, tremendous. Yes. You have lines passing over your head for many years, but yes. So when will this be properly rolled out?
It's already on. It's already on. It's already on. It's been on. It's been on, and we aim to connect about 1 million people connected to the grid. So the issue is if you have a low voltage line which is passing near your home, about 35 meters from your home, and you had failed to pay for a connection, the government of Uganda, you apply, the government of Uganda is coming in to pay for you for that connection so that you get connected. And now if you install efficient equipment like the bulbs which take 3 watts, which take 5 watts, a simple homestead which maybe has 4 or 6 bulbs, you know, at the end, yes, for lighting and maybe for use for a small radio or a small television or charging a phone, you shouldn't go beyond 20,000 a month. But yes, because you're using appliances, bulbs which are consuming very little electricity.
That is efficient energy.
Energy use.
Now, very finally, Honorable Minister, of course, time is not an ally always on this program, but since we have the privilege of having you here, we can discuss matters oil at least in one sentence. After all, you superintend over this nascent but very pivotal industry. The oil sector. I mean, yes, we had all this buzz, Uganda has oil, Uganda has oil. Bring us up to speed. What exactly is going on in the oil sector? All we are getting are reports of people complaining they have not been compensated because the government is putting up a huge refinery or a huge dumping site or a huge the other. It's always bad news coming in from the valley. Share with us, what's some good news coming in from down there? When do we expect the first drop of oil from Uganda?
That is all good news. We expect the first drop of oil in Uganda late 2016, 2017, and this one requires support from all Ugandans. Good news, more oil has been confirmed in place, 6.5 billion barrels.
What?
6.5 billion barrels confirmed in place. And what we are now trying to do as government is how do we harness, how do we tap into this oil so that it can support the transformation process of Ugandans.
Talking about harnessing, we are told for the most part that there are all these oil companies coming in here, but few jobs for Ugandans. Isn't that a concern? Does it bother you as a ministry?
No, it's a concern, and we are making all the arrangements to ensure that Ugandans participate in this process. As Ugandans, we need to build capacity because when the investors come in, they are bringing in the much needed capital for investment so that we can harness this resource. We want to build a refinery so that it will add value to this oil that we have retrieved from the ground. We add value to make products which are going to serve us as a community, products which we have been importing so that we can now use products that are manufactured. We have the petrol, diesel, kerosene, jet fuel, all that is going now to be manufactured in Uganda here. And therefore, we'll be able to support the need of our country and in the neighboring region, but also we want to access the international market where we can export this crude and therefore get the much needed capital. We want all the benefits, all the revenues that are accruing out of this oil to actually be plowed back into the other sectors of the economy. We want infrastructure, roads, more electricity out into the rural areas, motorable roads. We want modern agriculture. We want schools and health centers, water systems which are up to date. We want to convert the black gold into green coal.
I may need to cut down your energy. You have too much energy this morning. This week will be on until the evening news. But definitely, unfortunately, like every good thing, this program has got to come to an end. But we must thank you for making time to come and articulate these issues right from energy efficiency down to electricity generation, and now, of course, the much talked about oil and gas industry in Uganda. Thank you very much for joining us. That's been the Honorable Minister of Energy and Minerals, the Honorable Irene Muloni, articulating matters energy this morning. And of course, much of your commentary can be shared with us on our Facebook and Twitter handles so that we can pass on all these messages to our office for much of the responses that will be coming in more time as we can on our side. Let's return with Simon says. Where I give you a piece of my mind, also to speak. And like I said earlier on, hosting the Minister of Energy, someone that politically superintends over the industry in which I work full-time, is no mean feat. The one thing I can tell you is that with the Ministry of Energy hosting this Energy Efficiency Week, this is an opportunity for all of us to appreciate and understand how best we can use energy in a sustainable, also efficient and I say profitable way. At this exhibition, I have been told you'll find very many exhibitors showcasing a number of innovative products that will help you and I reduce on the amount of energy we use and, of course, reduce on how much money we spend to get this energy through, and yet at the same time be able to deliver the same product. You can cook the same amount of food using much less than what you use to cook today. That you can light up your house much brighter but still pay half your electricity bill. For the most part, we've been grappling with electricity bills, the cost of charcoal, the cost of so many things that we use to generate energy for ourselves. What does the ministry have up their sleeves to show us of newer and more effective and efficient ways of using energy? If we can take time this entire week to visit the parking lot of the Forest Mall here in Kampala, there we will certainly see what we're talking about with energy. And we are hoping that the ministry takes cue that we don't have to centralize all these wonderful activities to the capital city in Kampala. Many of you are watching us from different places in this country. You're watching us from Bulu, you're watching us from Kisoro, you're watching us from Moroto. I think the ministry needs to take the message that they need to bring some of these exhibitions closer to you so that at the end of the day, the whole part of the country gets to have full appreciation of what energy efficiency is all about. Have a wonderful morning. Have a productive week. And of course, God bless. Let's meet same time, same place tomorrow. Have a good day.
You're watching Morning at NTV with Simon Kasiate, Mabel Kebirunji and Brian Mulondo.
Guess what show just won Best Entertainment Program?
Log in for the glitz and glamour of Kampala's most flamboyant people and events.
It's my time! I'm here today for Coco Fingers video shoot.
Big up NTV, thanks for the support. Log in, ndiwa nole ronzi ze kukakasa.
You're Golfy and you're watching Login.
Don't touch that dial, you know what I'm saying.
It's Login.
We could do this all night. We could do this all night.
Follow the beat, follow the beat, follow the beat, follow the beat.
Follow the beat.
Follow the beat, follow the beat, follow the beat, follow the beat.
Follow the beat.
follow the beat, follow the beat.
Follow the beat.
Follow the beat, follow the beat, follow the beat, follow the beat.
Follow the beat.
Guess what show just won Best Entertainment Program?
Log in for the glitz and glamour of Kampala's most flamboyant people and events.
I'm here today for Coco Fingers video shoot.
Big up NTV, thanks for the support. Log in, ndiwa no lero nzize kukakasa.
You're Golfy and you're watching Login.
Don't touch that dial, you know what I'm saying. It's log in.
We could do this all night. We could do this all night.
A wife who you got through the office will be very insecure about you working in another place.
Always hunt up, don't hunt down.
You mean what? Go after your superior?
How dare you suggest that when a woman is aggressed against, we should look at the person who's been aggressed against?
Let the couple be. Let them sort out their issues. When they need you, then you come in.
Prostitution is being given a new brand.
All I know is that I connect people. Let's not choose to open our zips and do whatever our urge is, because I don't think that an urge is stronger than your will to say no.
People attach a lot of questions, shame to HIV.
I do not believe that when you wear a short dress, you should be around.
Marrying a wife is like having assured sex.
Anytime you come, you must have.
Yes.
To raise a population that has no clue how to be men. Can you bring out a quality family?
I don't get married for my family.
Men, every Wednesday only on NTV.
Mubonyumiro ebyemizannyo jangu nkulage.
Does! And Adam Johnson, the boyhood Newcastle United man, Derek, flying in the face of all football logic. A magnificent goal by Robin van Persie. Ferdinand! Everton lead at Old Trafford. Walcott, Giroud. Suarez. Super Suarez. Hazard backs it up.
We transact every day, and for centuries, currencies have changed hands. Business is a must, and that is why Money Matters makes it a must to talk business.
It's the biggest market out in Uganda because of East African connections and business.
From farming to business trading, we give you all the angles.
When you're harvesting, that one is the most important part, which we have to be there.
We'll bring you all the details that doing business has to offer.
Thoughts of the business leaders in the market.
The airline industry doesn't operate like any other industry, where you go in and buy a shirt and this shirt is 20 shillings today, it will be 20 shillings tomorrow, 20 shillings. The analysis of the costs and the income in the industries.
From wherever we are, we talk business, and at Money Matters,
where money indeed matters.
Business is a must.
So, don't miss talking business with us every Thursday only on NTV.
on the next episode, brought to you by...
At Orange, we know you want to do more on the internet. That's why we bring you happy hour day and night.
Destiny River.
Victor!
Max, what are you doing here?
What are you doing in my home?
Pick up that vine rope over there and hand it to me, please.
If he is not promptly killed by the curse of LaRue, both of us will die. The last remaining Karoo.
Can you please go get me Cirso?
You can download movies at the lowest prices another fast from Orange. Dial *133# to buy a data bundle. Happy hour changes with Orange. Today changes with Orange.
You're watching Morning at NTV with Simon Kasiate, Mabel Kebirunji, and Brian Mulondo.
To some of your messages on Facebook, we hosted Irene Moloney, the Energy Minister, on today's big story. We have Ashraf saying, thanks for the tremendous ideas and sensitizing Ugandans on energy conservation to ensure efficiency. We have Noah saying, I'm delighted to have Engineer Irene on the show. Katenda is asking, why are those guys in Mubende? Why are people being removed in Mubende, and who is making money from the gold? I don't know if that has anything to do with energy. Noah goes on to say, this is a nice move by the ministry, that is the Energy Week, but this should be held at a regional level or probably at district levels. This is because energy poverty is more pronounced in the rural areas, and these are people who need the new sustainable techniques better. But he goes on to say that, Godfrey Sori says, I really respect the new energy revolution at #Yaka. It's so good, thanks to your ministry. And I'm sure Simon will be happy to hear that as well. Shamiru adds that the problem here in Uganda is that the officials are money-oriented and not delivering services to people. So they resort to exporting power and rather than leaving it to the natives to use. And the person concludes, that is our Uganda. Do keep your messages coming. But Hussein here is asking, when will the power cover the whole of the West Nile region? And we have Noah Asinge saying, but Madam, where is the Petroleum Authority you guys promised us in the Act? We want it in place so that the management... To sort out, I think, the management. And Derek saying oil is our only hope. We now cross over to Brian for today's Everyday Life. Good morning, Brian.
Good morning, Mabel. Good to see you. We're still here at the rooftop of the Kampala Serena Hotel, and time right now, it's 20 after 8. And this morning, he's becoming our resident inspirational motivator, and he has just released a phenomenal book, and we're going to look at that. But also this has been causing lots of strife, not just in relationships but in homes, because people have failed to balance their work and their life. We'll be looking at that when we return on Everyday Life. Samuel A. Bakutana.
Sir.
Morning.
Morning, how are you doing?
You're like, you know, Uganda's Martin Luther. You're like inspiration.
Why not? It's possible. A lot is possible. And we have to tell people that a lot is possible.
Yes. Before we go, I see this, manage stress and work pressure. And
yes.
you know, it's timely because your book was released yesterday.
Yesterday. Just yesterday evening. That's when this book came out.
Wow. And then we have to talk about how to balance work life. And, you know, this is interesting. What does the book have in here?
How to effectively manage stress and work pressure. Just like you hear it, that is what it is about. How to manage stress and work pressure. Because as we talk right now, research shows that workplace stress is increasing at a terrible rate. You can have family stress, marriage stress.
That's
you know,
acceptable.
No, I'm saying that's just one aspect of stress, but there is also workplace stress, and it is on a high increase. Recently, somebody asked and said, what is stress? And I said, it is when you wake up yelling only to realize you hadn't slept at all. It is when your girlfriend tells you that you are the best kisser among all your friends.
That's
it is
stress.
when you can't cope with the
Among
pressure
all your
of life.
I've just gotten it now. Okay.
It is on a high increase. And I've been moving all over the place speaking about how to manage stress and how to balance life. And I really thought there was a great need for a material to help people. That's why I decided to bring this out yesterday. How to effectively manage stress and work pressure. Just 2 weeks ago, I spoke to all the head teachers of high schools in the country, about 700 of them, and this was the topic, how to manage stress and work pressure. 1 week ago, I was addressing about 400 professionals at the National Theatre. About what? Yeah. How to manage stress and work pressure. Next week, I'll be speaking again on the same topic in some other place in Jinja. So it is a serious issue. People have been silent about it, but this is the time to talk about it and handle it. Kick stress, this is the 9th month, and you know 9th month and the month of giving birth. This is the month to kick stress, defeat it, disarm it, depress it, disillusion it, disease it, get it, exactly, destroy it, and go and give birth to your dreams this month.
Awesome. I like that. Sam.
Sir.
Many people have failed to understand, to draw the line between work and their life. Yeah. Some of them will take their work to their life. Some people have worked for their organizations for such a long time that it's become part of them. Yeah. All they do is leave home, go to work, and then come back home and sleep. That's the routine every day. But how do you know that someone, you know, this person is obviously failing to understand how to balance the two? Are there signs that show?
Of course, the moment you fail to balance your life, actually, let me first talk about that specific concept of work-life balance. Yes, we use that concept, we use that word specifically, but I have an issue with the way we phrase it. When we say work-life balance, are you trying to say that your work is outside your life? And are you saying your life does not comprise of work? You know, when we say balancing work and life, somehow we are a little bit getting it off. To me, it should rather be work-life integration, or you say a balanced life, or work-life integration, to see how you can integrate your work with the rest of your life, with the rest of your lifestyle, because life has different facets of your existence. For instance, you have the work aspect, which we are emphasizing this morning. You have the spiritual aspect, you have the family aspect, you have the body, physical body aspect. It has to also be fit. You have the financial aspect, you have the personal passions, talents, gifts, and abilities, skills aspect. You have the social aspect, you have the spiritual aspect. All that is part of that thing you call life. So work is part of life. What you have to learn to do this morning is how to integrate your work with the rest of your life. To make sure that you are not only being a work machine, because we were created as human beings, not human doings. But quite often we make ourselves human doings. We were created as human beings, not human doings. So quite often we make ourselves human doings by making it all about work, 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 work. So that is why we are saying we should now integrate our work into the rest of our life. So, because there is no time when you are working while dead, or when you are living while idle, because that is what it means when we say now bring work and bring life. That means when you are living, you are not working. When you are working, you are not living. Indeed, that could be true. That's why you see when it comes to 5 p.m., 4:30 p.m., some people start to warm up in their offices. Why? Life indeed starts to come back because they were not living. They were like a bird that has been put in a cage. So when you open the door, it has to fly out. It has gotten its freedom. So quite often, the many people that are working today, maybe in those offices, in those NGOs, on TVs, in radio stations, in schools, their work it doesn't have life in it. There is no life in it. That's why they think of when it is now out of work, it is now into life. When it is out of life, it is now into work. But that is not true. We should learn to integrate all the aspects of our life. Very important.
How do you do that? You know, a lot of my work, some people look at it as fun. But both you and I know that before we get here, first of all, there's lots of preparation.
Yeah.
Stress, what I would call stress. You're calling people, you're setting up meetings, you're doing research, and nothing seems to, some people will call you 5 minutes to the show and
I'm
they're
not
like,
coming.
I'm not coming. You're like, oh God, what am I going to do?
Yeah.
How do you get that, all that chaos and try and bring the life to the chaos?
Number one, it begins with how you think about it. Once you think it is chaos, it will always be chaos. It begins with the attitude. It begins with the thinking, the mind. If you think you can, yes, you can. If you think you can't, you are absolutely right. It's about what you think. That was the statement made by Mary Kay Ash of Britain. So, do you think you can balance your life? If you say yes, then you will balance it. If you say, life is difficult, life is unfair, then you will not manage it. So it begins with changing your perspective from looking at life as a chaotic venture and you start to look at it as an enjoyable journey. And when we are talking about the way we think about it, let's talk about this thing we are calling work-life balance, which I am saying we should now start to look at it as integration. Number one, it's a journey. It's not a destination. It is a journey. It is not a program that today I am going to balance my life. 1, 2, 3, we go. I balance it now. No, it's not an event. It's not a program. It is a process. It is a journey. It is also a focal point. It's about what you focus on, as I'm about to talk about. One of my earliest books was Enjoy a Balanced Life. That was one. It was my third or fourth book. And I talked about 5 tested laws of balance, which I want to share this morning. Yeah. And the very first one is the law of involvement, which is about how to manage your programs. So the law of involvement says, according to Samuel A. Bakutana, not every program is yours to participate in, however good it might be.
I need a pen. Because I am, you have a pen, give me a pen.
I will help you with mine at a small charge.
Because this is for me.
Yes, this is very important, and if you are watching right now, take note of this. The law of involvement, not every program is yours to participate in. I am adding, however good it may be. Because quite often we think that what we should not do is what is bad. But quite often we need to learn to also not do the good when we don't need to do it. You get my point?
How do you know you're not supposed to do?
That will come into the second law. So let's first deal with the involvement issue. Quite often we make ourselves Mr. MTN or Mrs. MTN. Everywhere you go, you are found there. Yeah? In everything you want to be there. Because we have...
Semicolon. I think they call it
semicolon. Hey. The father of invents or something like that. One of the reasons why we make this kind of mistake is because we have confused activity with productivity. We think as long as I am so active, I am being productive. But that's not true. There is a difference between being active and accomplishing something. I always give this example. Brian, I get my phone, I call, somebody say, where are you? Can we touch base and we talk about something? And somebody says, no, I'm very busy. So the next day, you again call and you say, where are you? Can we touch base? Oh, I'm very busy. The following day you call, can we meet today? And he says, I wish we had met yesterday. Today it's even worse.
Yesterday you are busy.
But when you look into his life, you don't see the results of being busy. What have you been busy doing? You are still the poor man I saw 23 years ago. You are still putting on the same shirt you were putting on 5 years ago. Nothing has changed in your life. Somebody who came to your sitting room 3 years ago, when he goes back, he doesn't see the results of your working and you're being busy. What have you been busy doing?
Busy doing nothing.
Somebody told me that sometimes busy, B-U-S-Y, in full is being under Satan's yoke. You are just under Satan's yoke.
But there's nothing productive.
There is no productivity. So it's not about activity, it's about productivity.
Awesome.
And so that takes me to the second law, which is the law of priority, which concerns the issues of prioritizing your life. And according to Samuel A. Bakutana, the law of priority says, you shall not waste your time on something that is not important. You could even add in brackets after something, you put there someone. You should also not waste time on someone that is not important in your life.
Someone told me,
yeah,
don't waste your time doing something someone else can do for you. And they can do it better. So if I know that Samuel is a very good speaker, I'm not going to waste my time going to speak. I'll just send someone so that they do it better than me, and I know that my place is here. Samuel So I save more time doing other things.
And that brings me to the 4 quadrants of priority that Stephen R. Covey talked about in his book, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. He talks about 4 quadrants of priority. Some things are important and urgent. Some other things are important but not urgent. Some other things are urgent but not important. And other things are not important and not urgent. So when we are talking about the law of priority, if you want to, let's again use your word, balance. If you want to balance your work and your life, but which I'm saying, if you want to integrate your work together with your life, you need to think about these different tasks in those 4 categories. If something is urgent and important, that is a crisis moment. You must attend to it immediately. For instance, if somebody is drowning in a swimming pool and you are seated by the side of the swimming pool, and you are saying, you know, I have tricks in how to rescue somebody, but somebody is drowning. Now that is not helping. You get it? You have to avail your ability. That's what we call availability, availing your ability. You know? So if you are not availing your ability, you are not available. So that is a crisis moment, you have to attend to it. But secondly, if something is important but not urgent, now those are issues and tasks in your work, in your life, which need planning. Plan for them. For instance, if you are in senior 2 at Colorado High School, marriage is very important, but it's not urgent for you. So just put it aside, plan for it, and make sure you don't over-postpone it to the extent that it will come from important but not urgent into the quadrant of now urgent and important, and it's a crisis moment when you are 49 and you are still planning on how to marry. You get my point? And then if something is urgent but not important, let me give you an example. For instance, you are just going on air for everyday life, and then a friend just comes in and says, I have some KB to bank, come and we jazz, come and we talk. Now that one is urgent but not important. You have something that is more important. One of the things that we need to learn, especially here in Africa, is to say no. No is a very big and very important yet very short word in English. I was telling somebody before I came on air that these days I have learned to say no with a smile. And all of us need to do that. You need to learn to say no when you need to say it, and don't feel guilty about it. If something is urgent but not important, maybe you may need to say no to it, or you may need to delegate it to somebody else who can work on it, like you said. And then something may be not urgent and not important. Now, why do we waste our time on such things? To some people, what I'm about to say does not fall in this category, but to me, it falls in this category. For instance, when you are just busy taking every evening watching some soap somewhere on some TV, which is teaching you how to cheat, which is talking about which nephew took somebody's spouse. I mean, it may not really be important, and it may not be that urgent to your life. Maybe a personal development book like this may be more urgent and more important for your personal growth. Because if you put in nothing, you will get it out. If you put nothing in your life, you will just get it out. GIGO, G-I-G-O, garbage in, garbage out. What you put in is what you will get out. So the law of priority simply says, in brief, you shall not waste your time on something and someone who is not important. So if you are to balance or to integrate your work with the rest of your life, you need to know what is important and give it attention, and what is not important, put it aside.
Sir, past spent on time. I'm going to bring you back. This is important. So let's do this. Go to our Facebook page. Sam has a Twitter handle.
Yes, I do.
At Amotsam.
A-M-U-T-U-S-A-M. Amotsam.
Amotsam. Go there. Send questions so that Sam comes back next time when we're addressing your questions, okay? Our Facebook page is Morning at NTV. You can also tweet us at Morning at NTV. Feel free to tag me at MBGold2 at Amotsam, and you can hashtag everyday life. And when he comes back, he will be answering those questions. So let's continue that discussion there. He's just released the book yesterday. I just got one that is autographed with a personal message. So I'm very privileged. It's 10K only, yeah? 10K only, and it covers the 6 important facts you are not told about stress, the 6 signs of a life under intense work pressure, the 13 causes of self-inflicted stress, and how to cripple them. 12 keys to achieving rest, happiness, and that's very important.
You know,
most of us need that right now. Speaking of rest, let's take a short break. When we come back, I'll be engaging the man who has all the sports knowledge here with Mabel. Stay with us.
You're watching Morning at NTV with Simon Kasiate, Mabel Kebirunji, and Brian Mulondo.
Hello, is this Munji?
Yo, this is Munji.
I am feeling your new Virgin Jam right now. It is off the hook.
Thanks, man. I'm also feeling you. Seducer.
Make a call for whatever reason. Call someone, call anyone, and change your life. Make a call and you could win 100 million shillings, a car, or a smartphone with free data for a year. Plus, win 2 free minutes every day. Airtel. Together we can.
I see colors, the wonder of colors in everything I touch, in everything that reminds me of a world of beauty, a life of plenty, and every little story, in every crowning glory.
Regal Paints. Paint it, love it.
What show just won Best Entertainment Program?
Log in for the glitz and glamour of Kampala's most flamboyant people and events.
I'm here today for Coco Fingers video shoot.
Big up NTV, thanks for the support. Log in, ndiwa nole ronzi zeko kakasa.
You're Golfy and you're watching Login.
Don't touch that dial, you know what I'm saying. It's Login.
We could do this all night. We could do this all night.
Kampala has been voted in the past as one of the favorite cities for tourists, one of the most peaceful cities. That is something that is changing.
Kale Kaihura, the Inspector General of Police, and President Yoweri Museveni, their alliance, they can only crack down or stop individual strikes and individual demonstrations. But I don't think they can stop the growth of militancy.
No holds barred.
Besigye and Lukwago have particular grievances against the government, some legitimate, some misguided. What should the police do? Of course, the police has to intervene, A, to protect the power of President Yoweri Museveni and the NRM from disruption by Besigye and Lukwago, but B, also, never forget this, to protect those ordinary people whose property gets destroyed.
I want to ask that many think that they've actually been frustrated.
Opposition parties in Africa do not tend to be constructed around policy differences. FDC lacks a glue to hold its coalition of different power-hungry individuals together.
Incisive.
You see, the NRM is more divided internally than the FDC. The advantage with the NRM is it has political power.
Analytical.
I think that one of the best organized political parties in Uganda is the PPP, the People's Progressive Party with Dan Sali. This idea that everybody is telling around the world that Africans are poor and they cannot contribute to their own political and social emancipation is crap. In fact, I think that the opposition parties in Uganda have to win an election in an unfair and unleveled ground.
Newsnight with Andrew Mwenda.
Look at all the juices that are in there, and that is what I'm looking for.
at that.
We transact every day, and for centuries, currencies have changed hands. Business is a must, and that is why Money Matters makes it a must to talk business.
It's the biggest market out in Uganda because of East African connections and business.
From farming to business trading, we give you all the angles.
When you're harvesting, that one is the most important part, which we have to be there.
We'll bring you all the details that doing business has to offer.
Thoughts of the business leaders in the market.
The airline industry doesn't operate like any other industry, where you go in and buy a shirt and this shirt is 20 shillings today, it will be 20 shillings tomorrow, 20 shillings.
The analysis of the costs and the income in the industries.
From wherever we are, we talk business, and at Money Matters,
where money indeed matters. Business is a must.
So, don't miss talking business with us every Thursday only on NTV.
Welcome to Jazz with Isaiah, a musical venture that is entertaining.
I'm a prisoner, you're a prisoner too.
Educative.
It is not about just standing on stage.
Informative.
Jazz is a type of music from the African American background.
And inspiring.
I have the goal of breaking it down.
You can bring everybody in parliament as long as they can wake up and vote for the NRM.
As long as the voters exercise their rights to elect their leaders, there was no need for term limits in Uganda.
I know him. I know how he operates. I know how he thinks.
There are ways you can go around these obstacles.
Why should I conduct myself as if I am MUI? It's absolutely true. I admired President Museveni.
Is the ICC a fiscal code targeting African leaders?
You cannot tell me that the whole trouble Kenya had revolved about only 2 individuals.
The money is not in the budget of this financial year.
You can't beat God. You see, God is polygamous also. Look at Jeremiah chapter 31.
The security of this country will largely depend on the contribution that the people make.
Follow the beat, follow the beat, follow the beat, follow the beat. Follow the beat. Follow the beat, follow the beat, follow the beat, follow the beat.
Follow the beat.
Follow the beat, follow the beat. Follow the beat. Follow the beat, follow the beat, follow the beat, follow the beat.
Follow the beat.
On the next episode, brought to you by
At Orange, we know you want to do more on the internet. That's why we bring you happy hour day and night.
Maybe you'll learn not to spend what you don't have.
Veronica, look at me, please. I owe this guy a lot of cash and have no way of paying.
It's part of my job to save Alcino from trouble.
Mari, any news on my car?
As soon as this leg heals, I'm turning myself in.
I came here to talk about something very important.
Spill it if it's important, come on.
He's not doing well.
can download movies at the lowest prices another fast from Orange. Dial *133# to buy a data bundle. Happy hour changes with Orange. Today changes with Orange.
Why was he there dancing?
With the face of NTV. I was so upset. I even thought.
Joining us, thank you so much for staying with us. We're still here at the rooftop. It's about 15 minutes on to 9 o'clock. Joining us, Mabel Kebirunji, looking good.
Thank you, Brian. And I'm thinking.
Whose hair is this?
So the things you never say to a lady, you two need to learn. Don't ask whose hair. If I told you you're dead Indian,
someone rotting away in a Brazilian jail.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that's the kind of hair I would like before I take you to Nambole tomorrow.
Yeah.
You're going to Nambole, right?
He invited me on a date.
Ah.
Yeah. Purely sporty date.
So you'll be explaining all day, but you know them.
But I'm not too familiar with the team that's
now,
coming from here.
So no excuse. Nambole is close to your home.
Yes.
Yeah, from there you can walk back home.
Yeah, together.
Yeah.
Hand in hand.
Yeah. What do we expect tomorrow? We have people like Masan Majwega. Will they fit in tomorrow?
I think at this point in time, Mitchell wouldn't want to change too much about the team that got the result in Ghana, because 1-1 for many people felt like a victory. I've got to say that I'd love to see him play 2 strikers, because he could only play 1 in Kumasi, in Brian Omonia. I definitely think Massa will come into the side and start. Probably Majwega will only have to set off a place on the bench. There is a very hard, tough boy to ignore. I remember in the game against Mauritania, I did score that goal. He's always one who's been on the fringes. And even the few opportunities been given coming off the bench, Majwega has taken them with 2 hands or 2 hands and 2 legs. The way you literally, because footballers use legs, you wouldn't be saying hands here. He's taken them with 2 legs and done very well for the national team. So that's the kind of puzzle that Mitchell faces ahead of the game tomorrow evening at 7:30 p.m.
Right.
Okay, on to cricket. What lessons have been learned from the Africa Sixes challenge?
I've got to say that the national team never gets this kind of opportunities to play in South Africa, but I want to look at only 2-3 things. They played 5 games and won 3 of them, beat up on Namibia, beat up on Tanzania, beat up on Zimbabwe, and then lost to Kenya and South Africa. I loved 1 or 2 things. One of them has got to be how they handled themselves under pressure in the games they won against Zimbabwe and Namibia. Those games going down to just the 1 or 2 runs eventually for Uganda. And then on the other hand, the games they lost against Kenya and South Africa have got to be also lessons in a certain way, how they handle themselves under pressure. And then 2, it's got to be the batting. The ability to swing a bat in Uganda is an art that has been tough to find. While Uganda could bowl so many teams out, not often does Uganda manage to bat and put pressure on the opposing teams that are fielding. So I want to think that for Roger Mukasa and Jonathan Sebanja, who are the stars of that team in terms of batting, and Arnold Otwani, they should be very pleased that now they could go into the World Cricket League next month with a bit of confidence when they get onto that crease and have to score some runs.
Nemo Stars winning.
Yeah.
Lots of tweets from them. What does this success mean?
First of all, they are in a familiar place because Nemo Stars are used to winning more than so many of the other sides. You remember last year they were on that kind of role where they could almost sweep any team or sweep anything away. But in the National Club Championship in Fort Portal means that now they will return to the continent for a 2nd successive year. They're taking place in the Africa Club Volleyball Championship. That's a big, big success story for Nemo Stars. That for a team that is barely 10 years old, hasn't been here even for a decade, to be going to the continent for 2 years in a row. But they'll be joined by a new team this time because Vision Volleyball Camp, they love to call it camp, not club. I don't know why this is a camp and not club. Also joining him, it's a new women's team, only playing in the league for the very first season. Went and signed up a few players from Mundeja University, especially Peace Businje was MVP at National Club Championship. And they are also going to be making their first appearance on the continent. But for Nemo Stars, I insisted that this thing of playing on the corner should not be a one-off. And last time when they went to Tunisia, I thought, okay, now this is a big success story going forward. Now, if they could go back for a second time on the continent, that would be a big bonus for Ugandan volleyball. Yeah.
Now, Cilic and Nishikori, probably names we hadn't heard of till they beat Federer and Djokovic. Are we seeing a new era of tennis? And tell us about the final yesterday.
One-sided final, I've got to say. Very disappointing, I think, for the Nito. When you watch two underdogs, because there was no favorite here, neither of them had played in a Grand Slam final before. But probably one thing that was going to work in Chilic's favor is the fact that he has a lot of size advantage on his opponent. He stands at 6 feet 6 inches, while Kei Nishikori is only 5 feet 10. I think in that kind of margin, for me, yeah, I thought that was enough.
Nishikori had played very long games. The last 2-3 games had been really long.
Especially the one against Novak Djokovic in the semi-final where he had to be, he won that in 4 hours, and then Sansas Wawrinka in the quarter-final, the Australian Open champion. But I remember Cilic saying that before the final, he said that by Sansas Wawrinka beating up on Rafael Nadal in Australia, that opened the window for everyone else to believe they could go and beat up on the big guns, because this was the first final in 9 years that didn't have Nadal, Djokovic or Federer. And in that moment, you have a feeling that Cilic, who is for me the better player than Nishikori, was going to be favorite, even if I said both were underdogs in this final. The final result, 6-3, 6-3, 6-3. It sounded like a song made in Croatia to become the first Grand Slam winner, Cilic, after Goran Ivanisevic. Ivanisevic, who is actually the coach of Cilic, is the last Croat and the only Croat to have won a Grand Slam before Cilic. That was back in 2001 at Wimbledon. Goran Ivanisevic won that, I think, beat up on Pat Rafter in the final. So I always thought that there's a band, like you say, a new era. There's a band of tennis players who I think are going to dominate the world. Cilic, Grigor Dimitrov, Nick Kyrgios, Milos Raonic, and probably Kei Nishikori. Now, in that firebrand, there is a new winner, Marin Cilic.
Well, I must say it's good that the status quo is
changing.
Changing.
Yeah. It's always a good thing. It's always a good thing.
2016 Euro qualifiers. Tell us about the other games tonight. First of all, the results yesterday.
The results yesterday.
You'll be happy that Welbeck scored. I was just dying to say that.
For England.
Yes.
Yeah.
We beat Switzerland.
I'm not interested in
But
England.
you're interested in Welbeck because he's with Arsenal.
I don't care about...
But he scored yesterday, Brian.
Okay.
And he scored 2 goals, one with his shin.
2 goals?
Yeah, one with his shin. One with his shin, the ball just touched his shin and went in. Raheem Sterling doing all sorts of things for the English there in Basel to get them the result eventually. Welbeck scoring twice in the second half. I think a very good result for England, because while I didn't think they would go and win in Switzerland, this is the toughest game they're going to play in this group. All the other teams look like teams that will beat up: Lithuania, Slovenia, Estonia. It's an easy group for England. So to beat up on the direct opponent for that place at the Euros has got to be a big bonus for England, and I've got to say they should be very pleased with what they did last night.
Okay, England, we'll give it to you. Welbeck, okay, we'll see. We'll see what Arsenal plays. Okay, but tonight, 9:45, Bosnia against Cyprus, Czech Republic against the Netherlands. That's going to be a cracker.
Yeah.
Iceland against Turkey, and Norway against the Azuris. We'll definitely beat Norway, yeah. At 1:30 p.m., Ismail will be back with Lumansi and Alan talking sport on Omumuli, and every Monday Sports Bar from Club. So check out those 2 shows. Before we wrap up this morning, check out your African proverb. Morning's African proverb is really, no matter
no matter how beautiful and well crafted a coffin might look, it will not make anyone wish for death.
I'm thinking of Joan Rivers. Did you read her death sentence, her death statement, whatever?
Death wish.
Death wish.
Hair blowing like Beyonce, Meryl Streep crying. What?
In 4 languages. Yeah.
I don't know if you want to die, and I don't know.
She didn't wish it on herself, but probably she must have seen it coming.
But
somewhere.
it's also nice, you know, before, okay, this is really stupid of me to say, but it'd be nice for you to
have a death wish.
Yeah, she definitely had planned for. I mean, she was 81.
Yeah.
I mean, and still going strong, and it's sad that she died out of a simple procedure, an outpatient procedure that was happening.
Yeah, but remember the story I told you from Ghana about how people plan for their funerals by choosing the design of the coffin they want. If you want to be buried in a coffin like the morning at NTV Cup, you go to a craftsman or carpenter and they design it like that. If you want to be buried in a camera like Hassan right here, they design a coffin like a camera, but even that cannot make you wish death.
Yeah. Well, I guess that's one thing we can't escape from. Someone said there are two constants in this life, death and taxes. They'll always be there. Until tomorrow, have a phenomenal day and go to our Facebook page, social media. Some of you are failing to upload. You are able to install WhatsApp on your phone, but you can't install NTV Mobi. Go to our Google Play Store and download the app and you can watch NTV wherever you can. Bye-bye.
You're watching Morning at NTV with Simon Cassiati.